The reasons you should wait for marriage or a serious monogamous relationship before having sex is when we cherish, honor, and respect ourselves, we give the best of ourselves to another. But what's going on in our culture, especially with sex, is that we have no sense of respect or honor, or we don't really cherish ourselves. Because if we did cherish ourselves, honor ourselves, and respect ourselves, we would be pursuing a partnership that is relaxing, that is supportive, and that brings us harmony into our life. So in this sex culture we have, a lot of it is about power. A lot of it is about the whole thing guys do, like I have the biggest penis, or the biggest this, the biggest that, right? That's a power thing. A lot of our sexual experiences can be very abrupt, right? When we talk about the Tinder stuff, it's very abrupt. It can be very forceful, pushing, demanding, and very cheap, right? The whole Tinder culture is very, very cheap, or the whole connecting with somebody for 3 days or for a couple weeks and then kind of leaving or not wanting to participate anymore, right? That does not bring us closer to honor, respect, and that does not make us feel cherished, right? Honor and respect, and to cherish yourself, that's something that grows, right? That's something that evolves and matures. That's not something we can grab in the moment, right? We were trying to grab our power. Everything is very hasty, right? The way we're trying to grab this or grab that, it's very, very hasty. And our sexual experience becomes very hasty. I'm hasty to get, to come, or I'm hasty to orgasm, or, I'm hasty to get that thing that I want from this partner, right? Whatever it is, a sensation of bliss, or just sensation of I released myself, right? So a lot of our sexual culture is influenced by our porn industry. And the porn industry was developed, as we know, by this sort of Roman lineage. When we think of Romans, we think a lot about this red tantra, which is about basically, in the Roman sort of red tantra, it's about men basically making women as sex slaves, and women have to basically be their beck and call, kind of like a call girl sort of thing, and that a lot of men, it's very passionate, right? That sort of Roman red tantra, that sex is very passionate, right? In a dominant sort of power seeking way, where it's we see that in the porn industry, right? A lot of the porn industry is not about calm, and it's not soothing, and it's not relaxing, and it's not about just being in the moment. It's not about femininity. A lot of that porn industry is straight about a masculine. It's about a masculine asserting his will and asserting his power and his livelihood as a man, right? And a man's livelihood is like, my penis is bigger than yours type of thing. And that's that Roman thing, or I have conquered these many females. But what that does is that it really strips away honor, respect, in the sense of I cherish myself, right? When we get caught into that, porn or red tantra, where we're hunting, we're forcing, we're just pressuring ourselves and pressuring our mate to satisfy or to please and pleasure and all that kind of stuff, what happens is that we do really strip away a deeper feeling, right? We become what we call unfeeling to the experience, and therefore it loses all of its joy, right? It loses its joy when we feel pressured, we don't feel comfortable, we don't really know them, therefore we don't know if we can trust them, they haven't earned to us respect, so we don't really feel confident about sharing our sort of pearl as a woman with a man. So when we do that, what it does is that we start to collect. And I see a lot of people who, they collect, and that's just how we are as human. We collect. Especially in this Western culture, we definitely collect. And we do collect these sexual partners, and we do collect these relationships, and a lot of them are miscellaneous, a lot of them are sort of mindless, and a lot of them are immature, right? And it really takes a beating on our self-worth, right? And a lot of that it's not necessary. We don't have to go through these sort of sexual experiences that really tear us up inside in order to get the maturity we need in order to have a high enough self-worth where we can start to attract a more relaxing relationship. We don't have to go through that. It's not necessary. The reason we do go through that is because we don't cherish, respect, or honor ourselves, and therefore we feel like we're out of time. We feel impulsive. We feel unloved. So therefore we're seeking to fill a void, right? Or we're jumping into relationships to distract ourselves, to avoid something in ourselves because we don't like ourselves. We're bored with ourselves. There's so many reasons why we're jumping into relationships that we know is not really our match, and we women especially know. Men, they can sense it too, right? And it's a great sort of bummer when we do, especially as a woman. I can't speak on behalf of man, but especially for women, when we share this gem, right? This innocence, because sex is innocence. That's what it is, right? That's what it is, right? When we share that with somebody who that relationship is not relaxing for us, or it's not caring, or it's not respectful for us, that can be really, really damaging for a lot of us women, to the point where some women can lower their self-worth so much so that they start to believe that what they can get from sex is just mindless, miscellaneous, power-seeking sort of pressure and this sort of aggression that comes from it. And then they get caught in that. And what happens is these women get caught in that. They start to lose their sort of artistry and their spirituality, right? Because they're giving their energy, they're giving that creative force to a relationship or, a sexual encounter that really they shouldn't be giving to any energy, not even an ounce of energy to, right? But we do it. And therefore, months go on, years go on, and we start to realize that we have been giving, almost like we've been giving sort of we've been giving, right, our energy, our spiritual energy to these partners that they don't really deserve it, right? They don't really deserve it, right? And then, what can happen is we see in our sort of sex culture is we create, families, we have kids, right? These kids, and they create these ties to these people that we know we're not a match with, right? Or we know it's not a heartfelt connection. It's not a relaxing connection. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of agitation. There's a lot of friction, but there's no sense of kindred, right? A kindred sort of platonic respect for each other, and we know that, right? We have kids in that, and then that takes a lot of our energy, and again, if we have kids with the wrong person, that really does become a blow to us, because as a woman, as a man, we want fulfillment, right? We may say that we just want kids, or we don't want that sort of fulfillment, emotional fulfillment, but you bet we want fulfillment, right? When with somebody, especially if we have a kid with them, right? We want fulfillment. But if we are immature and therefore we have this sort of agitated relationship with someone, we're not going to get that fulfillment, because a level of fulfillment is about really getting to that status within your own individual, independent life where you are confident, you have high self-esteem, high self-worth, just in your own sort of life. Not with people, not with relationships in your life, just with you being you. And what happens is we have these kids, and that sort of you being you, it sort of falls away, it fades. Because then we have to you being you becomes now we have to develop this child to be excellent, right? And therefore, you being you as a mother, it's more so the child, getting the child where she needs to go, right? Especially early on. But if we don't have a relaxing partnership, that's really, really heavy on us, and that can be really, really exhausting, right? So with a relaxing sort of sexual experience, we talk about like green tantra or white tantra, the green energy or the white energy, and that green energy has to do with the heart, and the white energy has to do with the heavens, right? It has to do with your holy, it has to do with peace and tranquility. And we culturally don't see that, especially in the porn industry. We'll never see green or white sort of tantra energy. Never. We see a lot of passion and mind and possessiveness and obsession as well. Like, this is a very addictive sort of sex, or it's very like, I'm gonna make you come, like that sort of like forcing you to come, and it's very intoxicating in the way that it really has no soul, right? It almost makes it just a flesh, where it literally, there's no soul. There's no, I'm looking into your soul. There's no, you're looking into my soul. There's no sort of soulful experience or journey of, witnessing your soul kind of come more alive. It's almost like you're witnessing more of your animal self, right? That more, we talk about that animal self, that shark sort of, that fight or flight part of our brain. It switches on when we have sex. And if you've seen sharks when they mate, it's very, very animalistic. For example, sharks when they mate, you can see this on any, sort of documentary. Male sharks, what they do is sometimes they buddy up. And one male shark will bite and hold a female shark, while the other male shark that wants to mate is trying to forcefully sort of pound his body with his penis, erect, and trying to literally, you see his erection going into the woman, or the female shark, going into her, going out, and it's very forceful, right? It's very, very forceful. It's like going in and then going out and then trying to like fit it in more and push it in deeper and shove it in, right? And that's what we have in our sort of porn industries, like shove it in, put it in, get it out, put it in, and then you showboat it. Right? I had sex with this person, you showboat it. And that is not, as a human being, that's not joy for us, right? Joy is about honesty. Joy is about just being happy, right? There's no happiness in that kind of, this exhausting after a while. And usually after 6 months, if people do that, usually it taps out, right? You tap out. Because it's exhausting just to do that sort of putting it in, putting it out, like, I want to come, like, lick me, or do this, like that kind of thing, like haste, right? Haste, like, or you meet each other and you just kind of jump and you, the passion can be wonderful, but a lot of us, that passion is a form of, I don't really want to be with myself. Because when we relax, that's when we're intimate with ourselves. When we're just this sort of externalized, sort of like, look at my penis, or I'm going to make you feel so good. When that sort of external, which has to do with like the pleasure, the appearance, the sort of sensation, what happens is that can really sort of take away the sort of presence of it, right? Relaxation is about being present with yourself and being intimate with you. Right? Being intimate with you and being intimate with another person. But we don't know how to do that, right? Because we use sex as a way to like kind of just avoid, right? Avoid ourselves. Avoid what it is that we really want, right? What it is that we really need to focus our energy on, right? Because we don't feel good enough for that, what we really want, or we're not mature enough, right? We have no sort of emotional spiritual maturity, or some sort of emotional spiritual evolution going on. So we kind of want to just go for that because it's easy, right? It's easy. But what is actually easier, and a lot, not just easy as in it's like easy to relax and to be with somebody, is when we actually get to know ourselves and respect and honor and cherish ourselves, even no matter how long that takes. It could take months or years or whatever, however age you are. Because then when we share ourselves with a partner, we're sharing a completion, right? We're sharing, I'm whole, right? I have to offer you joy, right? Because I found myself. That's the greatest gift. We don't think about like, I have a gift to offer. We're thinking about, I want this from this person, or I need this from this person, or, I'm bored with myself, or that kind of thing. We're not really thinking about, like, what do I want to give something? I want to give a version of myself to somebody that actually I feel good about myself. I don't want to give a version of myself that just it needs something, and that's demanding, and that, you know, that feels possessive, or that just feels like I don't want to be alone, and I'm scared, right? I'm scared about my life. I'm scared things are not going out. They're not rolling the way I want to. So I'm scared. I'm afraid. So I'm going to kind of go into that, just jump into that, right? And then not feel good about ourselves, you know, not feel good about that, right? And then we start to feel shame, right? Man, shame, right? And that's not all of our experiences. A lot of them can be very endearing. But when I talk about waiting, you know, before having sex, is in our culture, particularly in our culture, right? If our culture was different, it would be a different sort of talk. But in our culture, sex is so pressured, and it's such a haste, right? And it's very confused. Like, sex is very confusing. Like, for example, people have sex and they're like, literally they're having sex with all their ex-partners, right? And there's just all these ex-partners in the room, right? And they can't really file through all of that. And then their subconscious gets really pressurized because they get a memory, because sex is one of the highest sort of unity we can have with our soul. So then all this stuff comes up, and then our subconscious gets really pressured, and then the shame comes up because we're not really focusing on what it is that we need to focus on, so that we can really be clear, right, in the sex experience. Because a lot of people, they're not clear in the sex, right? They're not clear. Their energy's not clear, their mind's not clear, they're not balanced, and therefore that sexual experience, it doesn't really go anywhere, right? And people know that. They know that. So when we wait, right, what it does is that it really brings this innocent quality to us, right, as just a human being. When we really focus on what it means to be you being you, instead of you being whatever it is that you feel forced, or you're power seeking, or whatever it is that you feel like you have to have. Like, we're all like, you know, sort of moody. I have to have this. I have to have that. Right? This sort of childish immaturity, what it means to you be you. Right? Do something that brings you joy. Because that will raise your vibration, that will elevate you, and you will attract a partner that actually will give you what it is your soul wants. Not what your ego, because that doesn't go anywhere. Not what your body wants, right? Which could be about chemical, right? I want to chemically, you know, get interlocked with this woman, right? Because I'm feeling chemically her scent is just really, you know, draws me in. No, what our soul wants. And that's a journey, right? And the soul, what our soul wants, we call the green and the white energy. That's our soul, what our soul wants, and a partner and a mate and a union. But that requires a level of emotional and spiritual maturity. That really requires us, you know, you being you. You being you. You going on your own sort of journey as an independent sovereign being, and going into experiences and friends, or you could even be dating, and really getting to know your niche, your talent, what it is that you have to offer, what it is you want to do, right? Because what our body wants chemically, like hormonally, a lot of women, they reach a certain age and like, my body wants a baby. But your soul doesn't want a baby, right? Have you ever thought, what does my soul want? Because sometimes what your body wants, your hormones as a woman, I want a baby, doesn't necessarily mean that's what your soul wants. Or that's the timing that your soul wants it. Or that's the partner your soul wants. But we don't get to know our soul, we don't vibrate the cosmos, we don't really meditate, we don't really sustain. I'm talking about wait in divine timing, right? Because we all have this thing of time, right? Time, we're scared of time, right? Time's going by, I'm not meeting the partner, I'm 35, so let me just go for that, because hormonally, my body chemically responds to the scent of this man that actually triggers this sort of, I need a baby, right? But we need to look at the soul, right? What is my soul guiding me to do, right? For my own individual mission, that could be with my family or my friends, or even with, you know, people I love. What is it that I want to create, right? We don't ask that question. We don't even pursue that question, because automatically we don't have the maturity, or we don't even have the self-worth to actually do the thing, So our soul has, I want to be this I want to, ignite this creativity within me, whatever it is. But then what happens is we don't have the self-worth, we don't have the sort of innocence to actually do the thing. So instead of doing the thing, since we don't have the maturity or the knowledge or the resources that we need to gain, what we do is we just distract ourselves, right? I won't get what I want, really what I want, on a soul level. So at least I'll just get what my body wants, which is pleasure, right? At least I'll just get what my ego wants, which is just like some sort of hot woman, right? But then on a soul level, I feel empty, I have no feeling, and I feel like life has stolen from me, right? My soul, right? And now my soul is being used for a connection or for whatever it is that really, I don't want to be in that cycle. On a soul level, I don't really want to be in that cycle, and I feel a little bit, I feel shame, because instead of vibrating the cosmos or vibrating my soul, now I'm in a situation, right, that I feel very trapped with. And a lot of people in their relationships, their sexual partners, they start to feel trapped with them because they get they give so much energy that person didn't deserve, right? They give their innocence just freely to this person who has no respect for you, or has no sense of like, even like just a cleanliness about them. There's a lot of people who have no cleanliness, that really, it just kind of, it murks you up, and it puts in all these programs and all these beliefs about yourself that really were not necessary for your soul's evolutionary necessity, right? Our soul's evolutionary necessity is to vibrate the cosmos, right? And to do what it is that our creativity is asking us to do, right? For our spiritual maturity, and for our healing, and for our peace, and for relaxation, right? For our joy, because there really is no sense of union with another human being if we don't even have joy in our own sort of just being alone, right? What we want to offer a mate is we want to offer creative expression, right? We want to offer like look, right? Look at who I am. Look at what I've become, right? I've become a man or woman that has all this spiritual knowledge, and that has all this material sort of gain through my ability to just honor my soul and the fulfillment that it's asking for, right? So in waiting for our right partner, what we're doing is we're basically creating big space in our heart, in our body, in our soul, in our mind. We're creating big space for a partner, right? For a big energy within a partner, right? So that when we come together, it's clean and clear. Isn't that what we want? That's ultimately what we want, right? And if we could give that, we would, wouldn't we? Right? If we met the true love of our life, or if we met somebody that just was such an amazing soul that we admired, wouldn't we want to give them clean and clear sort of channel of love or inspiration or whatever it is we have to offer? Because then when we do come together in an intimate way, we're coming together in a place of relaxation, in a place of contentment, right? Not contentment is what we have a lot, because we're not getting what we want from the partner. They're not getting what they want from us. And then we're moody, and then we're complaining, and then we're dissatisfied, and then we're seeking elsewhere. And then there's the drama. Right? I hate you. You ghosted me. I'm never speaking to you again. Well, how did you do that to me? Why did you do that to me? Like, all of that. And it's very unnecessary, right? We get so caught in that. We can experience that and do that game, right? That game that really doesn't go anywhere, because at the end of the day, that game all goes back to self and your maturity that has to happen, right? That's all that drama of you did this, that hate, and you da-da-da. It all goes back to your maturity. You were not mature when you got involved with that, right? You weren't taking responsibility for your soul or for your intuition and what your intuition was saying or expressing to you. You didn't take responsibility for it. And what happens when we get all this madness and we're not taking accountability, right? In some way or some form, we were not listening to our soul. In some way or some form, we were not being honest with ourselves. And that just means that we need to move closer to our soul. And that just means that we need to vibrate the cosmos. And that just means that we have to honor and respect ourselves and spiritually and emotionally mature. Because the more that we spiritually, emotionally mature, the more that we do become accountable, and that we do have partnerships that are not so exhausting to the point where we carry this sort of these ties with people that are unnecessary, that we carry even in future lives, that really were unnecessary if we were just to focus on what it is that our soul asks us to do. Because when we think of it, when you begin to vibrate the cosmos, what you're doing is you're fine-tuning your vessel, right? You're tuning up your vessel, right? And when you tune up your vessel, what you do is you get a greater sort of partnership out of that, right? When you tune up your energy, when you tune up your body, tune up your mind, tune up your spirit, all in the law of the universe, in the game,
I was gonna make a grilled cheese. Do you want one?
In the likes. In the like attract like sort of universe, right? When we tune up our energy, naturally we're going to be in a vibrational space where we can actually begin to attract, right? We talk about so much of manifestation, so much attracting the one, but really it comes naturally when your soul is ready, right? Not when your hormones are ready, right? It's when you're in when your soul is ready is when you start to spiritually and emotionally mature. And that's all on you. That's on you taking accountability and responsibility for your emotional and spiritual maturity. Because again, there's no timing. The timing is not, it's going to happen 35, 45, 55. It all depends on your ability, your speed toward in emotional and spiritual maturity, right? So if you're just hanging out and just hanging, with just people that are not inspiring you, that are not feeding, nourishing your soul, and you're not helping you vibrate the cosmos, you just kind of lurking around, right? You bet, right? That's a longer road, because your soul, it wants to have a partnership that is going to bring you closer to the cosmos, not deeper into your karma or deeper into your parental or ancestral karma. It wants you to break through, right? A relationship for your soul is, we do have a level of contracts and agreements, but when we do spiritually evolve and really do take accountability and responsibility for our awareness and our beliefs and our perspective and, our mood, right, and what we choose to bring in our life, and even if we really feel ashamed that we brought that into our life, we have to own that, because if we don't, our soul is basically saying, okay, well then, you have to get to this certain level emotionally and spiritually just within yourself for you to actually have the maturity to intermingle with somebody of innocence and somebody of great wealth, right? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, materially, right? So what happens is we do the piggybacking. I see people doing that, the piggybacking where you have one and then you don't let go of that one, and then you have another one and then you throw away the last one, right? Piggybacking. We have backpacking where you're sort of just jumping, right? And you're trying to put them in your backpack and you just confusion, right? Just confusion. But I'm saying the more that we do go within, because the one thing about waiting until marriage is usually people who do that path are usually people who really want to have a deep sort of meditative experience of their soul, right? Especially in this day and age, right? Because people, they can wait until they're 30, they can wait until they're 35, right? Or they could have sexual experiences and then they go celibate because they really want to have a clean and clear channel so that they can offer something something very innocent and something very, something very radiant and divine, not, inviting in these negative energies from all my past, right? And then I become negative, and then you become negative, and then I'm agitated, and then, I don't know how to, like, take accountability because I never did for my own ghosts or hauntings, my own mood. I don't take accountability, so now my mood is coming out, and I'm mad about that, but of course it's going to come out, right? Everything that's inside of you is everything that's going to be shown to your partner. If you choose a partner, everything that you are is going to be shown to them. So if you don't even like yourself, you're not going to be able to even give yourself, right? If you don't like yourself, you're not giving anything to that partner. All you're going to, like some people, all they can give is just hormonal pleasure at a physical level, right? Or all they can give is just my ego, like, I can give you all the money you want, or, I can do this, that, and the other, but I can't give you my soul because I don't have the maturity, right, to actually be soulful, because soulful is not just, soulful is a human being who's actually evolving, right, who's healing and evolving. And you'll see a lot of people, men, women, who deny that from themselves. They really don't have that relationship that they really, really want, right? And a lot of it could be show, a lot of it transactional, a lot of it could, like, filling in a void, distracted. It could be for hormonal reasons. I want a baby hormonally. You fit for my sort of sexual, fitting. But we don't really get the fullness, the fulfillment of it, right, on the soul level. So waiting in for marriage is not we are denying our sexual energy or blocking it off or sort of like cutting our lower body from ourselves, right? We're learning about sex. We can even take sex courses, right? Or listen to sex lectures, or, practice what it means to orgasm by yourself, or what is an orgasm, or what does it mean to be with a mate, right? To be sexual, to be intimate. We learn all that, right? And we can date and have friendships and bond, these kinds of things, to prepare us, right? To prepare us. So when we do kind of connect, when it's, the soul's timing, to have that sort of life partner, right? We have a level of unity within ourselves to give. And that's the greatest gift you can give. Because who wouldn't want to be with a human being who's inspired, who's creative, who actually loves themselves? Nobody wants to be with somebody who sit there and is moody all the time, who has all these past lovers that are haunting them. Who wants to be with somebody who is wanting transactional relationship because they can't pay, they can't afford their bills, right? Who wants a person who is desperately looking for someone to fill in the void because they have their subconscious fear of their loneliness, or, abandonment as a child is demanding they have a partner to kind of, feed that subconscious whatever it is, right? Who wants that? Nobody wants that partner. That doesn't bring joy. That feels very, very like confusion, like so much confusion. And that's the thing in our relationships, we're confused. And then when we conversate early on, I'm confused, you're confused about what you want because you don't know. And it's okay to not know what we want, right? But the one thing that we do is we false it, right? Or we are dishonest because we want to satisfy the other person. But when we get to a point of maturity, we understand that I don't need to be dishonest. I don't need to just make up stuff or present myself as this level of confidence because I did it. I can successfully say that I am that person I say I am. But we don't do that. A lot of times on this dating stuff, we're like, I am this, that, and the other. But then in reality, we don't have that level of maturity. But we're saying that because we know that's what we want. We say that, or we project that out even though we haven't gotten to that level. It's because that's what we really want, right? If we say we want a partnership that, we where we're very, lucrative together, or, that we have they have a really good family, right? Or whatever it is that really, like, when we say it out loud into the universe, it just makes our soul light up, or we start to vibrate the cosmos when we say that, right? But there's something where we have to, we have to create that space within ourselves to be able to kind of fit that, right? So if we are kind of wanting to fit, a gentleman, right? What is a gentleman going to fit into? It's going to fit into a lady, right? So we false this, I'm a lady, yeah, but then it's not real, right? It's not real, because a lady would naturally be with a gentleman, right? So that's why we have to be authentic. That's why we really do have to vibrate the cosmos, and we do have to get to know our soul. Because the closer we do get to our soul, the more space we are creating for ourselves to really be fulfilled. Fill up your vessel. So many people are walking around with an unfeeling vessel. And then they wonder why they're making these mistakes. They wonder why they're destructive. They wonder why they can't take accountability. They wonder why they're not, moving forward. Right? We have to fill our vessel, right? With the nutrients and the nourishment that is our soul. We do that when we vibrate the cosmos, right? Because what we want to offer and what we truly want to, we can lie to ourselves all day long, but we know what we truly want to offer and what we truly want to be in is a harmonious relationship, right? So we can have that, right? I see so many people that are in this confusion, that confusion, this, that, the other, right? They won't call me back, ghosting, they left me, abandoned me, whatever it is. The reason that stuff occurs is because you or the other person is not spiritually or emotionally mature to actually hold a harmonious relationship, because that requires a lot of you. A lot of accountability and responsibility for your own well-being. And if we're not there, it's exhausting for us to try to, be that when we know we're not that. It just becomes exhausting, right? And then the other person, right, is pulling on us, and then we're pulling on ourselves, and then it's just a bunch of pulling on each other to get, we force each other to be this relaxing relationship, not understanding that that's something that we evolve into over time, individually, as our own person, as an independent person. And the more that we create that space for us to mature, right, without all of this extra unnecessary, mindless, miscellaneous drama that really kind of makes us have these beliefs and these programs and just all these ideas about love and sex that really we don't need to fill our space with. Right? When we really just fill our space with things that really move us, that we, what moves us, what inspires us, what really helps us to be creative, or what does it mean to be creative, or what is it that we want to experience or do, or how do we want to feel in this moment? What are we doing to allow ourselves to feel that, right? To get to know yourself. And what happens is I see people, they don't start to get to know themselves until they're like 35, right? They go through all of that relationship, and then they 35 and they realize, wait a minute, I was not even in a relationship. I was just in a bunch of mood swings. That's what happens to men and women. They're like, I wasn't even in a relationship, because relationship is relaxation or harmony, right? Or kindred bonding. It's not that, hassling and forcing and pressure and conflict and you're exhausted. So a lot of people, they wake up, they're 35 and they're like, I gotta really work on myself, my ego, my physical body, because I really would like to, have relaxation in a partnership. But I know I cannot force the divine to give that to me. I have to climb my way to it. I have to work my way to it. It's not going to just magically work its way to me, because even if it worked its way to me, I probably wouldn't even see it. I'd be so stubborn, I'd be so moody, I'd be so irresponsible, I wouldn't even be able to see it. It would come my way and I would reject it. because I'm protecting myself and protecting that other person, right? Because I know I'm not emotionally ready, so I know that I'm gonna mess it up, right? So that's what, a lot of times at 35, 45, that's when we really start to really want to have a soul kind of conversation with ourselves, so that we can really get on a path of, okay, what is creatively, what's going to fill my cup, so I can actually be a feeling person, not I have all this, that, and the other, but I'm so unfeeling in my physical body, I'm so numb that I don't even know, like my creativity is so just blah, and I'm bored, right? There's a lot of people that's just like blah and bored, because their signature of their soul is not even prevalent. It's not even there. It's not even in it, right? Because they've been denying or shoving away or avoiding these kind of soul signature that wants to come in, right? So when we start to really, really become fearless and sovereign, independent, and really start to learn what it means to be a creator, go into that meditative space, go into that sort of, looking into yourself. Usually that's when we definitely start to honor, respect, and cherish ourselves. We start to see our confidence, right? And then we start to see our radiance, and then we start to see, right, our innocence, and we start to see our creativity, and then we start to see possibilities, opportunities for us, right? To really express all that we are, because really all that we are is our soul, right? And the more that we try to move away from that, the more that we get deeper into, right, the drama, the I hate, revenge, all that kind of stuff. Our soul basically is our gold ticket to, right, a life of fulfillment, right, of relaxation, rather than all that. But sometimes for many of us, we have to go through all of that because we need to understand it, right? Understand its sort of life and its society and its ways, right? So that everything that we go through and everything that's presented to us is very much a life lesson. It's like a test, a mastery, right? It's something that we're faced with because our soul really wants to evolve through that, whatever it is that we have in front of us or had in front of us. But there comes a point when you begin to really vibrate the cosmos. There comes a point when you just naturally get into your consciousness, meaning you become so aware that you learn the lesson just by looking at that person. 3 to 9 seconds, you can look at a person and you can learn a major life lesson that would take you a year or 2 years to actually learn, because you have consciousness. Because you can look into that person, you can play out the whole entire story of being with them, and in that 3 seconds you're like, I learned the whole life lesson of what it would be like to be with that person. And that's what happens when you get in consciousness. You begin to spiritually grow exponentially. You can look at people, you can look at the past, and you can just zoom. You get the whole download or the life lesson instantly, where you're not having to like go through 5-10 years of like being with that person or having a baby with that person, and then 5-10 years down the road realizing like the life lesson, right? And it's just being like a sluggish, like exhausting road. Consciousness is there so we can learn life lessons quick, right? Think of it like intelligence, rhythmic intelligence. When we have that, we actually can learn very fast, right? We can learn super, super fast, right? We can learn a language very fast for these individuals. We can learn a relationship pattern. We can learn a subconscious pattern very, very fast. And therefore, it becomes unnecessary for you to have to go through 5 years of this or 10 years of that, because you can just be in front of it for 3 to 9 seconds, and then zoop, you just know. You know the life lesson. You know what it's showing you, right? Whatever it is that your soul wants you to learn, so that you can pass that and you can begin to continue to move on your journey, right? Towards whatever it is creatively you are wanting to express, and that you need an education, a knowledge, a tool, a talent, an ability that you have to develop, right? But once we develop that through vibrating the cosmos, through consciousness and deep awareness, you bet we learn, and we learn deep, and we learn well, And therefore all this 10 years, whatever that is, we can learn that so quickly, right? So quickly. And for some of us, we have to go through that, right? Because we have agreements to that person that are very binding, right? We're bound to that person for some reason, right? It could be a past life thing that, karma or past life sort of, we have to fulfill, right? We have to fulfill that, and it's a part of our spiritual growth, right? These past life, real strong past life relationships that come up, right? A lot of them are for our evolution, right? We have to move through that, whatever's unresolved, or move through that to get a really, really deep download or a real, real deep education so that we can move forward, right? It actually gives us the power, gives us the sort of grace and the tool or the education we need to get to the next level, right? Like a stepping stone or like a pillar that we had to create within ourselves, that this person has agreed that they were going to help us do that, right? In past lives, or we agreed we would help them do that, right? As a way of being of service to humankind, or service to our soul, or service to their soul, or service to the universe, right? And when we talk about a life partner, it is about partnering up with life, partnering up with yourself, right? When we think of a relationship, what we really want is awareness. We want awareness. We want consciousness. We want creativity. We don't want to just be stressed and anxious and moody, right? We want to feel relaxed. We want to have the kindred love or walking on the beach and that kind of thing. We really do want that. We yearn for that, but we know that it's going to require maturity to be able to, do the things that we need to do on our level to be able to get to that sort of ability where we can sort of relax into a relationship. And we have to set our lives up for that. And we have to do the things we need to do to create that space on earth. So if our space on earth is just chaos and all of this mayhem, and we don't like our job, and we don't like ourselves and our situation with our parents and all that kind of stuff, that's not gonna, your relationship you're bringing into your space is not gonna be relaxing, because you're not gonna feel content, because you have to do what you need to do to get on this earth ground in this 3D a sort of home for yourself. You have to ground in the 3D a home for yourself, right? Before you can sit there and invite in guests, right? A family in that. Because then what happens is we don't have a sense of home on earth. What happens is that we don't feel really, really safe or secure, or a relationship feels very, like a lot of people, it's like a whirlwind, or it's just, it has no sense of, it's not dependable, right? It's not loyal, because we're still floating, right? We're still in dreamland. We actually haven't really put ourselves on earth and do the things that we need to do. I'm talking about not just materially with successes and education. I'm talking also spiritually and emotionally. We have to do what we have to do, right? So we have to come down to earth. We have to, you say, down to earth, right? And when we say I'm down to earth, my partner's down to earth, what we're saying is that this partnership actually is relaxing. When we say it's down to earth, meaning you brought yourself down to earth. You did what you need to do to make this earth a place where you start to feel dependable with earth, and you start to feel like you feel content, and you feel like you're understanding, and you're learning, and you're growing, and you're evolving here on earth, and you're getting it, right? Not, like that kind of thing that so many people are in, right? Down to earth, right? That's a relationship that we all are like, wow, like I would love to be down to earth with a partner and not be dreamland and wondering what is this person thinking, or this person won't express to me, or this person won't talk to me, or I have all this this whatever that is. We really don't want that. We want down to earth. Just say that, down to earth. Right? That's about your soul coming in this earth, coming down to this earth, touching the ground. And a lot of us, our soul's not touching the ground. Our soul's caged, our soul's denied, our soul's rejected, our soul is completely out of reach, and we're just living through animalistic, or we're living through ego and living through subconscious parental patterning, and just living very, very unaware of what it is that on a soul level that makes us feel down to earth. And then our life just becomes whoa, right? Where we don't really feel our creativity has actually made it. We feel we've made it other ways, but we don't feel our creativity's made it. And that's something that we all would love to have. Our creativity made it. Made the journey through all of whatever the parents, the experience, whatever it is, my creativity made it. It survived. It prevailed. I'm down to earth. Right? Therefore, what I have to offer is something that's down to earth, not something that's fantasy land or dreamland or a lie or a facade or superficiality. I'm actually down to earth. I actually am who I say I am. And the reason I'm true to my word, is because I have the emotional, spiritual maturity to back it up. So when people say the word and this, that, and the other, and they have no spiritual maturity, emotional maturity, you bet that's a dreamland. But we want to be down to earth. We want to live the dream. We want to live and breathe the awareness and consciousness of what it means to actually be in love. Not in love of this whatever it is that we play out in our head, but then in down to earth, that's not what's happening whatsoever. Right? We have to come down to the earth, and we have to bring our soul with us, and we start to fill up our vessel with our soul and start to creatively break through and creatively appear. Right? That's what we have to do. We creatively appear so we can fill up the void, fill up the holes, fill up the scars, fill up the wounds, clean out the whatever that is, clean out that, the closets, the ancestral baggage, the basement, attic, clean all that out, so that what you become is the rite of passage of your soul. Right? That's something very relaxing, very, very exciting, actually. Because then when we're down to earth, we actually have something to say. Our words are rich, right? Our actions are enriching. Though our life is creative. Right? What we have to give is actually has substance and has depth and actually has something to it, it's not empty. Or it's not just a lie or a dream. Right? In partnership, we want to be down to the earth. We want to live in love, in relaxation, but we know that's a partnership that requires us to emotionally and spiritually mature. And that's the divine timing, right? The divine timing of our ability to really cultivate awareness, consciousness through vibrating the cosmos. And they're really, really being honest with ourselves. The more honest we are, you bet the more rewards we receive from our soul in the universe, more help we receive. Because that means that you're doing what it is you came here to do, and that's what the guides want you to do, what you came here to do. So they're going to help you with that, no doubt. So you start to feel more momentum in a positive direction. You start to feel just naturally right time, right place, synchronicity, opportunity, because you are starting to move and down to earth. You're starting to move according to your fulfillment. Doing what you need to do to bring about that sort of, that presence or that space, right? Either that's confidence, either that's cleanliness, either that's self-worth, respect, either that's letting go of something, either that's forgiveness. You're creating that space for you to come down to earth. Come down to earth. So I'm going to leave you guys with this.